What the?
That was actually a dramatic pause. I meant to take that long doing it. That's, I was thinking about Othello and the sexsomnia and the character there in the old Shakespearean play wandering around, speaking to himself, talking about who they've murdered, and then having sex. So I wanted to give that Shakespearean dramatic pause right there. That was on purpose. Everything we do here is on purpose.
What the?
Exactly. Well, this story, I just don't know. All I can do is tell you this story. And again, this is one of these things, when you hear this story, you're going to get a mental image, and that's the whole point of this. It's true. Wenatchee, Washington. That's right. They have a lot of those, like, chi cities up in Washington. I think that has to do with Native American culture. Wenatchee, Washington. That sounds like a city in a Looney Tunes, like a Bugs Bunny. Like, I'm going to Wenatchee. So you already know the story's going to be good. Wenatchee, Washington really does exist. This is Washington State. There is a newspaper in Wenatchee, the Wenatchee World. That's the newspaper there. Wow, I bet this is a really big city. The Wenatchee World newspaper just released a story. Police in Wenatchee are surprised at the amount of contraband an inmate was able to smuggle into the jail. Now, we know what contraband is. When you go to jail, you're not supposed to smoke cigarettes, marijuana, do drugs, cell phones, any of that stuff. All of that stuff is forbidden. Listen to all of the contraband a recent inmate got into the Wenatchee jail. A man carried a cigarette lighter, rolling papers. Those are the little papers for cigarettes. No one would ever use rolling papers for marijuana. Yeah, right. A baggie of tobacco the size of a golf ball. Now, I wouldn't even consider that a baggie. That's like 10 baggies, but, a golf ball, we know how big that is. So we've got a cigarette lighter, rolling papers, a baggie of tobacco the size of a golf ball, a smaller baggie of marijuana, a 1-inch smoking pipe, a bottle of tattoo ink. You go to jail, you're going to be there a while, you got to get a tattoo, and 8 tattoo needles. That's right, let me say this again. Cigarette lighter, rolling papers, baggie of tobacco the size of a golf ball, a smaller baggie of marijuana, a 1-inch smoking pipe, a bottle of tattoo ink, and 8 tattoo needles. Now that, that's 7 items. That's 7 items right there. That, in and of itself, just getting that in just seems crazy. Now, what's crazier about this story, which is really why it's in this section, is it's not that he had a friend slip him the contraband when the friend came to visit. His girlfriend didn't put it, in a magazine or whatever. These 7 items. Now, it's actually 14 if you count each needle were brought into the jail internally. Now, just to clarify, want to let you know this had nothing to do with his mouth. They were not internally brought in orally. Was done another way. We've all seen prison movies. We know how people get stuff in. Now, I know that people really can't live without their marijuana. But the marijuana, the lighters, the tattoo needles, the ink, the tobacco, and it's all brought in. You know how. I can't even say it. Turn this up. There's only one reaction I have for this, and this is my reaction.
What the?
Exactly. Now, speaking of Kaine and what he picked up over there in Haiti, this individual is looking at the same thing. I don't know about this. Now, of course, the officers were astonished. I'm sure there's a lot of action up there in Wenatchee, Washington, but this even blew them away. So, bless their hearts in the Wenatchee, Washington jail, and I bet you the reporter at the Wenatchee World just hit pay dirt with this story. I can just see the issues of the newspaper flying off the shelves. Well, the perfect segue into our next story was this first story. Bathrooms in Boston. Get this. Boston park officials are hoping the public can overcome the gross out factor and get used to the thought of having a bite to eat in a former public restroom. That's right. The Boston Herald has reported that the city's Parks and Recreation Commission was scheduled to go before state lawmakers tomorrow to ask permission to lease 2 former public bathrooms on city land for possible use as eateries. One of them would be called the Pink Palace, a 660 square foot mausoleum-like structure on the Common, and the granite 670 square foot duck house in the Back Bay Fens, which have not been used as bathrooms in decades, but at one point in time, this is where people went to go take care of business. Now it looks like Boston wants the only business in there to be taken care of is to get your food and to have a snack. When I hear that, exactly, I just want to retch. I really don't want to, be eating where a urinal once stand, a toilet, or what have you. And especially, one of those toilets in the parks, those are always so nasty. Are they able to get rid of that smell? There's always that smell in those, park toilets. I don't know. I guess they're going to have to include some fumigating as well. And then one final story I like. Ingenious people. Bluff City, Tennessee. A Tennessee police department let its website expire. It was bluffcitypd.com. You gotta, make sure you buy your websites every year, every 2 years. They let it expire. Somebody went out, bought the website, and get this. It's this guy who has this big agenda in, fighting back parking tickets or what have you. He got the website. He just happened to be looking this up. Found out it expired, went to GoDaddy, $9.99, gets the police department's website, which is advertised everywhere. And now he's posting ways to fight tickets, going against the cameras everywhere. You know what? I'm down with law enforcement, but I kind of like that. I like some ingenuity out there. I like people getting out their message in ingenious ways. Well, we've come to the end of yet another show. I thank you for joining us. You know how to get us online. Facebook.com/Unfiltered Show. Twitter.com/Unfiltered Show. I'm lil'ern. Kaine's going to be back. We're going to hear about Haiti. And Unfiltered, we're still going to be here. Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join us again.